Hello and welcome back to another review of me, Kevin, from Kevin Grant on Whiskey. This week I've got a whiskey that I've not really had a lot of time with, just in general. You know, this is one of the first times I've tried a Mannochmore. This is an independent bottling from Elixir Distillers. So Elixir we might know more from their Port Ascay range. They do the 10-year-old, if not an 8-year-old, a cask strength. And I do think they've just released something a lot older there. They also do the Elements of Islay, so these are the wee kind of potion bottles, like 50 cl bottles, and they've got like LG, I think it means Lagavulin, BR, Bruichladdich things. So they've got this little range of Elements of Islay. Some are really good. I've tried the Elements of Islay cask strength, and I do think that's the only one I've tried. I think when I seen them, I want to try more, but they are quite hard to get. 50 cl bottles, some really good juice coming out of them, so I can understand why. This is another thing in the range that they've got. So this is called the Single Malts of Scotland range. This is a reserve cask, parcel number 5, Mannochmore 11-year-old. So what this is, when you see it, so we'll break down the bottle here first of all. Distilled in 2009, bottled in 2021, 11 years old, and it says number of casks 7. So what that actually means is they have taken 7 casks from Mannochmore, vatted them all together. So they've picked the best casks they are. So I think it's all refill bourbon that they've used, or they've used bourbon and then they've put it into a big refill. Then they've bottled them. So you're getting 48% ABV, natural colour, non-chill filtered. So it tells us a lot of information on it on the front, which is really good. It tells us the Angel share. So the Angels are absolutely drunk up there at 23.57% is what has been taken away from these casks. Excuse me, I think that's a really cool bottle. They were established in 2002, they brought this out, and I'm pretty sure they will not go over 9 casks for their vatting across the range. So they've got quite a lot of different ones. I done a tasting with Elixir with Julie Hamilton a couple of months back, and this is one that came up. The range, I can't remember all the ones that we had, but there was a standout for me, which was the Linkwood. I really enjoyed, and I think this was my second. I can't remember. But it was just a really good taste, really informative. I love the labelling, and the Mannochmore, I only had 1 dram, so this is going to be my second Mannochmore. So I'm having this. I've not had anything before it. Palate's kind of neutral, I would say, so I'm hoping to try and really get a good experience with it. So I've got to smell it quickly. It's not really filling the room like other whiskies that I've had. It's not got that big potent blast and such. So this has been sitting in a glass for maybe 10 minutes as well with no topper on it. So we'll have a little look. Let's kind of dive into a little bit of history. And when we look at the history of Mannochmore itself, it's not very old. 1971 is when these guys were founded. They did have a little bit of history, and 1971 they were founded. In 1985 they mothballed, so the distillery was still there, all the equipment was still there, but there was just no production, nothing was happening. And I think it was 1989 the resurrection came back and they rebuilt. It's a Diageo owned distillery, Diageo owned product for that, and then Elixir have came in and taken 7 casks and made this whiskey. So the other cool thing about this, which I never knew, so it's the Speyside first of all, but it's on the same site as Glenlossie. Glenlossie and Mannochmore share the same site and the same workers, I think. And I think they said that's the only distilleries that ever do that. They're two different things. I don't know if you've maybe looked at Springbank and Kilkerran. I could be completely wrong, but I know they use the same staff for like 8 weeks of the year. When Springbank shuts down, Kilkerran's up and running. So when you look at that, Glenlossie was there like 100 years before, or it's been there for 100 years, and these guys have only been here for, 50 years or so. So there's not much history. There's no real cool, amazing stories how it was founded and all of this tax evasion and illicit distilling back in the day. So that was quite hard to find a lot of history on it. That's like the main things. Newish distillery, one of the newest ones out there, and the only kind of whiskey that I really know from was that it was in the 12-year-old and the Flora and Fauna range that Diageo do. So this will be different. This is given as at 48% ABV, so it's got a different ABV on it. All natural product in that sense. and 7 really good casks vatted together. So it's nice and light, as we can see, really pale. I think we should just get into this and see what else we can get. Right, so we'll smell this first, get it on the palette, get into this, get it reviewed, and see exactly what's going on, and we can kind of dive back into this bottle, and I'll give you a wee price point at the end as well. So on the nose, it's like a sweet buttery note on the nose. It's quite sweet butter, floral. Very floral now. It's yeah, quite fresh flowers. Maybe, what would I say, like a crushed red apple kind of sweetness to it on the nose. But it's not got like a full punch of something. It's more floral, so it's quite soft. It seems quite delicate. 48%. Doesn't smell like that. It's got no aggression on the nose. It's just a nice, fresh, clean smell. Floral, apple, sweet butter. Let's try this on the palette. Let's see what this says. I'll show you the colour first, so hopefully you can see that. The legs on it are beautiful. Nice and oily it looks. Slange around. That floral note stays. It becomes quite, maybe a bit bready. It's not spice, it's like it's dry. It's definitely drying off at the back of the palate there. But still floral, slight kind of, not fresh bread, but if you've just taken bread out of the packet, you're about to make a bit of toast, just kind of like that. It's just there's slightly doughiness to it. It's quite, I wouldn't say it's a complex whiskey. It's not got so many things going on that you're trying to find a lot. Fresh and things on the nose, very easy smell. It's an enjoyable smell. It's quite dry. I can't believe how dry that is. I don't remember it being as dry when I tried this at the tasting. This is wild. Yeah, like, a bit dry. It's not spice or something there. I don't know. Maybe cardamom, nutty. Is it nutty then? Maybe a slight nut note on top of the bread. A seeded loaf, maybe. Go with something like that. If we go an extreme with, there's something I just can't pinpoint. I'm going to say like a kind of seeded loaf. There's kind of bits and things in there, wee grains. So let's go back to the bottle. I've put some water in there. I want to see how that opens up a little bit, does anything for me. It is 48%, so it might drop something off and give me something new. The cool thing with this bottle, I'll try and hopefully it will let you see what's on there. I really love that label. I quite like that writing on there. I think it's in order from how you're looking at a whiskey. If I was to be really critical of it, I would change it to having Mannochmore Distillery at the top and then Speyside underneath it. That's if I was being totally picky, but I'm not. So it says Speyside, 11-year-old, Mannochmore Distillery, distilled 2009, Angel Share. It was a total of 7 casks, bottled in 2021, selected by Oliver Chilton, 48% and 70 cl. And on the back it tells us it's got the non-chill filtration, no added colour, it's all there. I like the bottle, I like the labelling, it's something that catches my eye. I think it looks quite, it's not like all this new stuff, it's kind of gone back in time slightly, this quite professional look, if you would say, with a nice writing on top of it, the single malts of Scotland. So it draws in my attention. As I say, the Linkwood that I had, I think that was just a full bourbon maturation. It was absolutely lovely. I remember trying that and I think that just sold very, very quickly. So that tiny bit of water, the floralness is still there, but I'm getting more of that kind of buttery, melted butter now on the nose. Yeah, so it's given a slight little sweetness to it now. That breadiness is still there. It's maybe like kind of buttered bread, maybe. That kind of melted butter put on the bread, and it's just sitting there. It's got that kind of sweetness, nice mouthfeel to it, still slightly drying, but I think it's slightly missing something for me. I still think it's great whiskey. It's just, I think the only thing I'm struggling with is there's a taste there that I can't put my finger on, and that's what's annoying me to try and figure out. I enjoy it. This is £52 to £60 you can pick this up for. I don't know how readily available it is, but I do know they're out there. They're doing this kind of yearly stuff. The Linkwood I would definitely get. It's been a good introduction to Mannochmore because, as I say, I've never really tried it. Last time I tried it, it was already a few down the line on the tasting. Julie done an absolutely phenomenal job of it, just kind of breaking everything down for us, letting us know. And I do remember putting a Linkwood to the side. But the Mannochmore, I'm pretty sure it was my second, because I think I did have this slight issue last time. I do have notes somewhere when I do my tastings. I kind of write down notes of what I liked. So I've got my wee book over here from all the tastings I've done. So I need to try and go through it and find what I said, what flavours I got, and what I voted for. Because I do feel I had this slight issue last time. There was something I couldn't quite put my finger on. I like it, and I think I definitely do need to spend more time with this. I do need to sit there, try and break it down, just try and sit and find this flavour. The thing that's always on test here is a whiskey, right? So we always want to know, do we enjoy the whiskey? Yes, we can break it all down and say it's got this, it's got that, and you can sound like, oh, I know everything in there. But for me, I'm just missing one flavour and I can't put my finger on it. So you know what I'm going to do now? I am going to go and sit back. I'm going to try, enjoy this last little bit. There's not much left in this bottle, as we can see. There's maybe a wee dram left, so I've not got long to try and figure out what it is. But I've enjoyed it. It's been nice. It's a really floral whiskey that I've not had a lot of floral notes forefront in a while, so that's been really enjoyable, and that real buttery note's good. The drying I didn't expect. So good whiskey overall, good price for what we're getting. Mannochmore, I do know, is people do say the older it gets, the better it is. It's a whiskey that needs to be aged for longer. So maybe if this had a few more years, maybe if it's a 15-year-old, for instance, this could have a lot more boom and a lot more interaction. But as I say, it's been good whiskey. I've enjoyed it. I like the labelling. I like what they're doing. There's loads of different ones out there from the Single Malts of Scotland range that they're doing, and hopefully you keep them coming, because I will keep coming back for them, especially that Linkwood. And I'll probably buy this again because it's intriguing. But as always, I've been Kevin from Kevin Getting On Whiskey. Join me next week. Let's talk whiskey. Slange.